Okay, so let's get started with this class. All you will need is a nice open floor space with enough cushion underneath you, and that could look like a yoga mat or a rug or a soft carpet. And some of you also may want to have a yoga strap or a TheraBand as an option for parts of the lesson. So you can go ahead and lie on your back. And so in Feldenkrais lessons, it's really common for many questions to be asked. And this is to encourage an engagement with curiosity during the lesson. And a question can be a very exciting and energetic form of thought. It illuminates a new landscape or a new idea. And a question is one of these forms that wonderment or awe or fascination are expressed. You can think about the kind of amazement or fascination, even surprise, that a child has when they are learning to crawl or to walk, or when they find out that their toes and their hands are all a part of the same structure, which of course is themselves. And so this, for the child, is this beginning of a long apprenticeship that we all have with gravity throughout our life. And Feldenkrais said, quote, "Curiosity is a sign of health in human and animal. When learning, do not have any intention of being correct. Do not act well or nicely. Do not hurry, as this creates confusion. The child does not exercise in the sense a grown-up does, by repeating an action in order to improve it. The child's attention is directed by curiosity, which is innate in all living things. Repetition in a small child is more often due to the pleasure the act evokes and to its novelty, rather than to intend to improve." So consider this lesson as a time to play, to notice, to get curious in the way a child might with their movement. And see if you can keep this possibility of curiosity in mind. Doing the movements in a way that you can really feel something new for yourself. So again, lie on your back if you're not already there. And if you've been there for these few minutes that I've been talking, just notice how you are settling. Maybe you've already attended to your comforts and your needs. How do you do that? And at any time in this lesson, if you want to change your position, you manage your own process. And I really invite you to take those signals seriously and to tune in when you might need rest or when you might need to change something, because I think that's an important process for all of us. And this might also allow something new to emerge. So as you rest, where are the spaces between yourself and the floor? Notice the areas where you aren't touching the floor. Where are those spaces? And compare those spaces to the areas that do meet the floor. And here at the beginning of the lesson, what does your attention include? Does it include your thoughts? Does it include your feelings? How do you sense the two sides of yourself compare to each other now? Does one side feel longer or shorter, thicker, thinner, higher from the floor, deeper into the floor, cooler, warmer? And what are the heaviest parts of you? What are the lightest parts of you? And explore just for a moment, very gently moving the parts that feel easiest to move. What would be the easiest area that you feel you could mobilize? And you could maybe just try something, mobilize it, and then bring it back to the floor. And maybe try another part that feels like, oh, this could be an easy place to move. It could be maybe you just move your fingers a little bit, or maybe you roll some part of you, or lift something a little bit. But notice these areas you're choosing that you are considering might be the easiest place to move. Do those areas correlate with the lightest parts of you or the heavy parts of you? And pause that exploration for a moment and sense the heaviest parts of you. And explore how you might begin to move the heaviest parts of you. How do you mobilize these areas? And as you explore that, notice how you breathe, if you hold your breath. Okay, so from here, please roll to your side and come to sitting with the soles of your feet together. So your knees will be out to the side, soles of the feet are touching, and lean back on your right hand. Your right hand's behind you some amount so that you can put some weight into it. You don't have to have the feet pulled in really tightly, but it's some comfortable position where you can lean on your right hand. And with your left hand, get a hold of the right foot. So your left hand will come to the sole of your right foot, and then the fingers and the thumb will come underneath towards that pinky toe edge of the right foot to get a hold of the right foot. And slowly start to lift the right leg into the air and then put it down. And feel how it lifts. And try this a number of times, lifting the right leg with the help of the left hand, of course, and then lowering it down. So your thumb is with all of your fingers in the way that a monkey uses its hand. And as you lift and lower the right leg, notice how is the weight shifting? How long does the leg get? How much does the knee lengthen a little bit without straining? And notice it. Are you shifting your weight? Is there any shift of weight on your pelvis or into your right hand? Do you like where your right hand is? Do you like how this feels in your right elbow and shoulder? Okay, put the right leg down and lean back onto your left hand. Bring your right hand to hold the left foot in the same way. So the palm of the right hand can come to the sole of the left foot, and then the fingers and the thumb start to wrap underneath, grabbing that little toe side of the foot, and begin to lift the left foot, the left leg, and finding out how this leg works. Don't strain. Or if you feel like you need to strain, just try this once. Just try lifting the leg once and then back off. That's right. And the knee can go out to the side a little bit. The back can move. The pelvis can move. And notice, are you thinking of this movement in a mechanical way? Or can you come to being curious about the process and the attending to yourself in the movement? So slowing down the movement, so that you can feel how you do this movement. Good. Let that rest and come onto your back. So I think this is actually the goal in this Feldenkrais work, that in a moment-to-moment way, noticing something you haven't noticed before. And that's more difficult to do when you're moving really quickly or when you're moving with a lot of ambition or need to get somewhere. Okay, come back up to sit with the soles of the feet together. Lean on your right hand. Hold your right foot with your left hand, as we were just doing. And slowly lift the right leg and bring it to a comfortable height. And at that comfortable height, move the right leg to the left and to the right. So you keep the right foot, the right leg in the air at a comfortable height and just begin to move it from side to side, left and right. And notice what stops it going a little further to the left or further to the right. Could you include more of yourself to make it easier to one side and then the other side? Can the right leg, the right foot, cross over the left leg and come to standing to the left of the left leg? Just maybe going in that direction. And what if you turn to look behind yourself? What about going to the right? Can you go further to the right? What might happen with your left leg if you wanted to bring your right leg further to the right? Maybe the left knee moves to point more towards the ceiling, or maybe you lean into the pelvis a different way. Yeah, and it's funny how we might not start with this. We might feel like there's a correct way we need to be doing this movement. So now bring your leg back to the middle and lower the right foot. Keep a hold of it with your left hand. And just lift the leg a few times, lift and lower, and feel what it is like now. Is any more of you participating in the movement? Okay, let that go. Bring your left hand back behind you so you can lean on the hand. Notice how you do that. The fingers, you might point them in a different direction. You might move the left hand farther away from the midline, closer to you, farther away from you. And then your right hand will hold the left foot and begin to lift and lower the left foot, the left leg. Find a place where that left leg can stay in the air comfortably. And from there, move the leg and the foot to the right and to the left. And so you already have a different or some new ideas of what's possible. And find out on this side. So don't just do what you did on the other side. See if you can find out on this side. Is there more to explore? Is there something new to find out? Noticing how you rotate your whole self. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you keep the eyes and the head forward. You could try something different. Feeling where that left hand is. How you might shift on your pelvis. Good. And then bring the left foot down, keep a hold of it, pause for a moment. Just let go of some of the work. And then again, still leaning on your left hand, lift and lower the left leg a few times and see what it's like now. So beginning to increase the sensitivity so you can let go of work that is not needed. Okay, let that rest come onto your back for a rest. And continuing to listen to your process. Maybe you feel like you could have started to rest sooner than I cued, or maybe within the sitting work, it would have felt good to let go of the foot for a moment, take a short little pause, and then come back. So really listening to your process. Okay, come back up to sit. Come to your side, come to sit with the soles of the feet together, and lean on your right hand. Hold the right foot with the left hand as we're doing. And now bring the left leg into the air, some comfortable amount. And from here, take the foot a little towards you, towards your chest, towards your belly, and then away from you. Towards you and away from you. Good. And allow your back to round and to lengthen when that seems appropriate. And this doesn't have to be a big movement. And see if this movement of when you're thinking about your right foot, rather than just bringing the foot, towards you and away from you, but as if it starts to make a circle. So as the foot comes towards the chest, then you can start to lift it a little bit higher, and it starts to move away from the chest, and it starts to go a little bit lower towards the floor. And then as it comes towards you, it begins to lift a little bit higher towards the ceiling. And as the foot goes away from you, it goes a little bit lower. So you're moving the foot towards you and away from you, but in a little bit of a circle. And as your foot comes towards you, can you bring your head a little bit towards the foot? You don't need the foot and the head to touch. You don't need to try to make them touch, but they just move towards each other. And so this idea suggests that you bend from both ends, not to touch. Good. And could you pause and reverse the circle? So now as the foot moves away from you, it moves down and away from you. As the foot starts to come towards you, it comes down. The foot moves away from you and up. Just reversing that circle. And again, it's hard to think of this in a mechanical way, but maybe you are. So coming back to being curious about this process, the circle doesn't have to be perfect. It might be an oval, slowing the movement down. Good. And just take a pause. Pause and let go of your right foot. So bring your right foot back to the floor. Lean on both hands for a moment. Stay in sitting. Notice your breath. Bring your left hand to hold the right foot again. And just lift and lower the right leg once or twice. And feel, what is that like now? Anything new participating? Okay, let that go. Bring your left hand back behind you. Lean on both hands for a moment. Let your head drop. Let your back round. Good. And slowly lift the head. Take the belly a little bit forward as you lift the head and look up. Try that again. Let the head drop, look down like you want to look at, like there's a spot on your shirt that you want to look at. Let the back round. And then look upward and take the abdomen forward. Good. And then just look forward. Stay leaning on your left hand and hold your left foot with your right hand. Lift the left leg into the air some comfortable amount. And start to make these circles in front of you. So the left foot comes towards and away from you, not in a line, but in a circle. And just notice what direction you chose. I won't direct that. So you're just noticing your particular personal habits of what direction you chose this circle to go into as the left foot moves towards and away from you. Feeling the moments you can round the back a little bit, bringing the head and the foot a little towards one another. And notice the quality of this direction of the circle, this first direction you chose. And one direction isn't better than another, but now change the direction and notice what you find. Is there some reason you chose the first direction? Was the first direction easier in some way? Good. Rest that. Leave it for a moment. Lean on both hands. Hold your left foot with your right hand again. And just lift the left leg a few times. Good. Leave it. Lie on your back. And notice now, what do you sense as you lie on your back? Can you stay attending to yourself with a new level of detail, of curiosity? Now stay on your back, bend your knees and stand your feet about hips distance. Lift your right leg so you can bring your right knee a little towards your chest and hold with your left hand, hold your right foot from the inside, very similar as you did in sitting. Now, if this feels hard, you can hold onto your pant leg. You could hold onto your sock. You could hold onto a yoga strap that's around the foot. Your right knee is to the outside, and in some way your left hand is connected to your right foot. And start to lengthen this right leg. And just notice, is it somehow easier lying on your back, or is it different? So you move the right foot a little away from you, lengthen the right leg, and then bring it back, bending the knee. Good. And now, holding the right foot with the left hand, move the right leg a little to the left and to the right. The knee can be bent at any comfortable level. And see, where does it take you as you move the right leg to the left and to the right? Could you think of putting the right foot and stand the right foot to the left side of the left leg? Or could you think of your right leg coming onto the floor to the right of you? And there's no reason you can't roll your head, roll to one side of the spine or the other. So if you were the baby and you wanted to get that right foot to the left side of your left leg, you wouldn't be worried about if you're supposed to keep your head on the floor, if you're supposed to keep your pelvis quiet. So play for a moment. Breathing. What feels interesting? What feels pleasurable? Okay. Rest whenever you need to with your feet standing. So when you feel you need to let go of that right foot, just let go of it and stand the right foot and pause with your knees bent and both feet standing. And now hold the left foot with the right hand. So lift the left foot from the floor, take a hold of it with the right hand from the inside and then underneath. And lengthen the left leg a little bit, thinking of lifting it and then bringing it back and feeling what it's like while you're on your back. And then lift it to a comfortable height, the left leg, and move it to the right and to the left. We're not looking for a particular shape, but how does all of you participate? And do you roll more towards one side of the spine or the other? Letting the head roll. Is there some place you could reduce a little bit of effort? Or even reducing the need to achieve something? Staying interested in this process of letting go of achievement. Good. So let's rest. You can rest with your legs long. If your eyes are open, close your eyes for a moment and just feel, where does your attention take you? And now bend your knees again, stand your feet, hold your right foot with the left hand. Bring your right hand behind the head. And as you start to lengthen the right leg a little bit, lifting the right foot a little bit towards the ceiling, at the same time, can you lift the head with the help of the right hand? And that will create a little folding in the middle. And then bring the head down, let the right knee bend. Trying that coordination a few times, lifting the head as you lengthen the right leg a little bit at the same time. And feeling what helps lengthen the leg, what interferes with lengthening the leg. Can you sense the folding in the middle that happens? Good. And now change over the hands. Bring your right foot down. Hold your left foot with your right hand. Bring your left hand behind your head. And do it a few times on this side, lengthening the left leg, bringing the left foot towards the ceiling as you lift the head. feeling the folding, the rounding. And then coming back, and notice what parts of you press deeper into the floor as you begin to lengthen the leg and lift the head. Yeah, and you don't need to go quickly. You don't need to get in a lot of repetitions. You might lengthen the leg and lift the head, and then come down and just pause for a moment before you decide to lift the head and the leg again. Good. Take a rest. Let go of the foot. Bring both arms down. Lengthen the legs long. And notice the sensation of your spine. Notice how your back meets the floor. Has the weight under your chest or under your low back? Has that changed at all? Roll to your side and come up to sit. Bring the soles of the feet together and lean on your right hand. With your left hand, bring your left hand to the sole of the right foot, holding the right foot around the pinky toe edge, and lift the right leg and lower the leg. And is it different or easier? Maybe it's the same. Just notice. Good. Change over the feet. So moving in the other way, lean on your left hand, hold the right foot hold the left foot with your right hand and lift the leg and lower. And feel, does it shift your weight in any way? Good. Keeping with your left foot, can you switch hands? Can you bring your right hand back behind you and hold your left foot with your left hand? You can bring the left hand over the top of the foot to grab the pinky toe edge. And so now lift the left leg up and down with your left hand. Does this shift your weight in any different way? Now, could you shift your weight so that your right leg starts to really rest on the floor? As you lift your left leg with your left hand, could you tip a little bit to the right so that your right leg comes more towards the floor? Your right knee maybe touches the floor. Good. Let that go. Let's try that on the other side. So bring your left hand behind you. Hold your right foot with your right hand. Your right hand can come over the top of the foot, top of ankle, top of the foot, and then the fingers come under the pinky toe side. You can use your pant leg. You can use your strap. And lift and lower the right leg. And how can you shift your weight so that your left leg, your left knee even, comes to really rest on the floor when you lift the right leg? So can you shift? Can you tip your weight in some way over to the left while you lift the right foot? What would happen if you fall over? Make sure that there's nothing you would hit, of course, so the eyes are open, you're aware of your surroundings. But as you lift the right foot, what would happen if you would fall so far to the left that you'd fall over a little bit? Now, you might learn something. Okay, let that rest, come onto your back. So this quote that I read at the beginning of the lesson, Feldenkrais said, curiosity is a sign of health in human and animal. When learning, do not have any intention of being correct. Do not act well or nicely. The ability to learn a skill such as right-left orientation needs the childish state of mind, that ability to play while learning, to pay attention without intending to learn. And he says it also needs, among other requirements, the ability to feel differences, the ability to distinguish between one sensation and another very similar one. So as you rest here on your back, is anything changing? Has anything shifted? We can think about the rest on our back as this place we come back to many times in the lesson to see if there's been any change, see if we can feel any, even if it's very small, subtle change. So bend your knees again, stand your feet, and bring your feet off the floor, bring your knees a little towards you, and reach in between your legs with your arms and get a hold of your feet. So holding the foot from the outside. So your hands, you can think of happy baby pose. Your hands come to the front of the foot. The fingers wrap around to the pinky toe sides of the feet. Again, you might use a yoga strap. You might hold your pant leg, your ankle. So you approximate as you need to. The knees are on the outsides of the elbows if possible. And have your knees pretty bent to start with, holding the feet in a way with your knees bent. And slowly start to lift one leg, lengthen one knee, bring one foot up towards the ceiling a little bit, maybe out to the side, and then the other. And start to alternate. One leg lengthens and lifts, and then the other. And feel where does the moving begin? Where do you start moving? And when you lengthen one leg, can you roll a little bit to that side? Going back and forth, just perhaps tipping a little bit to one side of the spine. You could play with where is the edge of how far you could roll without falling. And even if you do fall, that's great. You can see what you learn from that falling. And feel as you lengthen the left leg to the left and you roll a little to the left, then you wait for the moment. You move the right leg to the right and you wait for that moment to roll. And you can let your head continue to roll. And what if your head, your nose or your mouth were really, really interested in your feet? Figuring out what foot you would kiss, what foot you would smell. As you tip to the right, would you bring your head towards your right foot or would you bring your nose towards your left foot? Could this rolling side to side, holding the feet, bringing your head towards a foot, could that bring you up to sitting? Could you roll yourself onto your side and all the way up to sit? And it's just a question. It's just a play. Staying with this quality of your process of moving. Yeah, there's several ways we can roll ourselves to sit. Maybe at some point you want to bring you roll to one side and then that leg that lags behind, maybe you bend it behind you or maybe you bring it to length. And it's great to be confused, to be not sure, to try again, to reset. It's just feeling whatever works for you. What is interesting and the baby would continue, the baby would repeat because there's something pleasurable in it. Okay, leave that and rest on your back unless you're really into your play. Then you can stay and join in resting once you're done. And so with this next exploration, stay with the process. Try not to have a goal and endpoint that invites too much striving, too much tightness in the body. So that we can stay curious about how to stay engaged in the process of the experience, what's new and rich and what feels good, and not necessarily how you get somewhere or the getting to that place. So from your back, hold both feet again. Your arms are in between the legs. Your knees are to the outsides of your arms. And see if you can roll yourself up to sit from one side or the other. And you can think of bringing your head towards, if you roll to your right, you can think of bringing your head towards your right knee. The longer your head stays to the floor, the easier it may be. So you round, you fold your spine, but then you'd have to get your left hip all the way back to the floor to be sitting. And maybe you're there. And if you are, could you just reverse that? Come onto your back. And so I'll talk you through again, a moment of playing. From your back, holding your feet, rolling to your left side, holding your feet, bringing your forehead towards your left knee. And then you want to think about your right foot coming to the floor, your right pelvis coming to the floor, feeling that folding of the spine that might be able to bring you up to sit. Maybe, maybe not. You can just see how far you went. Maybe smiling is a helpful thing right now. Reversing it, if you'd like, to come back onto your back. So play with that for a moment. Maybe you just stay with rolling side to side, holding the feet. Maybe you decide, I want to hold my knees right now, not my feet, and just feel the pleasure of rolling a little bit from one side to the other. A free and easy head and neck. Curious about the space around you. If your eyes are closed, open them for a moment, like a baby would. Be curious. And then in some way, any way, bring yourself up to sit. Bring the soles of the feet together. Lean on your right hand behind you, and with your left hand, hold your right foot. And lift your right leg and see what it's like. Is it lighter or easier in some way? And then change over. Bring your left hand back behind you. Hold your left foot with your right hand. Staying in your comfort with this process and lifting the left leg, lowering it. And notice, does your spine respond with a different kind of yielding or softness as you lift the leg? Something different. Good. And just come onto your back. Sense, how do you contact the floor now? What stands out? Notice for you the feeling of length, the way you rest, the way you attend to yourself. How much is there when you go to connect with and feel how you are in this moment? And this interest in curiosity and in the novelty that happens when a child plays, hopefully this is not just something that we bring into these lessons, but we can bring this quality of attention into other things that we do. We can sense ourselves and reduce effort in other moments throughout the day. We can really bring this process into anything. So it's about attending to yourself, maybe to your relationships, with curiosity, and with a quality of acceptance and respect for yourself. So you can continue resting on your back, noticing how that's feeling. Another option is to see what this lesson has done for you in standing and walking. So you might roll to your side and staying curious about that process of rolling to your side and coming up to sit and coming up to stand. Taking a moment to notice what stands out for you in your standing posture, and then taking a walk, noticing what that's like.